Not supported.
Well, there is a book, I mean, I don't know whether you're interested in it or not, but there is boards within the Catholic tradition.
Yeah, I know.
Have you ever read about those confirmed miracles?
Yeah, no, they're not confirmed. I've written the Vatican about this, and I've offered our services with the verification of saints and miracles, and I never get a response. Frankly, the process for confirming miracles is a joke. It's not, there is no critical analysis of miracle claims. It's awful, it really is. You should, I mean, if I were a Catholic, I mean, look, here's an example. John Paul II was just beatified. What was his miracle? Did he heal someone? Did he do anything?
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't. He prayed on behalf of a woman who had Parkinson's. He prayed for her to God. Maybe no one else in the world prayed for this woman ever. But if anyone else did, and God, let's say God exists, and let's say God cured her of the Parkinson's. How do you know it was John Paul II's prayer, which was the one that got through, that God said, you know what, I am going to fix her Parkinson's. And by the way, people cure Parkinson's on their own all the time. It didn't just happen once. So, I mean, from my world of looking into things and needing real evidence to verify things, it's a pathetic standard. It really is. I mean, you would not want your own doctor, you would not want the person who designed the airplane you came in, or the car you drove in, you wouldn't want those people to have the same standards that the Catholic Church uses for verifying miracles. We'd all be in bad shape.
One last question.
Yeah.
How do you respond to many people who would say that the challenges to the paranormal are set up in a way that they can never be won, even if they had a legitimate miracle?
That's a good question. When we deal with our $50,000 prize, and I know James Randi does the same thing, the claimant has to agree on the protocol. We design a protocol. We say, okay, what can you do? I can send my thoughts into other people's heads. Okay, so if we put another guy in another room down the hallway and cut off all communication between you, and we flip the deck of cards over one by one, you could get a substantial number of those cards mentally sent in, right? Yes, I can. I agree to that challenge. They show up, we do it exactly like we said we were going to do it, and they can either do it or they can't. What we do and what Randy does not depend on, I could probably just leave the room. It's very obvious and objective what happens. Either they do it or they can't. So, you know, they really have no excuse. Yeah.
The current Catholic Church has just recently had 1 million people assembled in Rome to witness the current Pope's final miracle, which I don't know what the end results were, but they're expending, they had 1 million people in what's the name of that place? But anyway,
Vatican, yeah, St. Peter.
Vatican, yeah, the Vatican.
Yeah.
And that was supposed to develop the final miracle that the Pope has to execute to become a saint.
That the 1 million people showing up itself would be considered a...
No. Yeah, it was 1 million suckers were there, I think. But anyway, they were to assemble. They assembled on their own because they wanted so badly to create this miracle assembly for the Pope, the current Pope. Would your group take that challenge?
To do what?
I don't know what the miracle is that he has
talking about John Paul II or better?
I think he's asking if you would challenge the miracle itself, like the miracle that the million want to witness, although he's not sure what that miracle is.
Well,
That's good enough, yeah.
I'm happy to look at any miracle. We'll look at any claim. I mean, you know, it's better if we're there, if we have access, and because a lot of the stuff is, you know, with the Benny Hinn, people come up and they say, I've got cancer or something, and maybe they've not been to a doctor. I mean, I was backstage once with a guy who said, I had a heart attack, and I went to a faith healer, I went to a psychic, I went to a reflexologist, I went to 3 or 4 different people, and I said, did you ever think about going to a cardiologist? I mean, so people sometimes get it in their mind that they have something, and they don't ask the people who know the most about these things.
Well, my thought was, if you really want to debunk miracles, that'd be the best one to take on.
Yeah, well, you know, the Catholics used to have a person who was in charge of, it was called the devil's advocate, actually. The devil's advocate was in charge of making the case for the miracle, that the miracle didn't happen. And I'd love to be there for that discussion. But I don't even think they have the devil's advocate anymore. So it's the worst possible rubber stamping of a claim. You know, I mean, our 50,000 would have been gone in 5 seconds if that were our standard. That was our standard. So, question? Yeah.
Have you ever been even a little bit close to being convinced of one, and you have like what almost got it?
Question was, have we ever even been close to being convinced? The answer is no, although one time we did a test run of a protocol, and we had our own guys sit, and we did the Xena cards, you know, they have the wavy lines in the circle and the square. So you have a 1 in 5 chance each time of guessing the right one. So we sat down with one of our investigators, and he got the first 3 right. And we're like, what's going on? Is someone trying to mess with us here? Our own people trying to mess with us? And then he missed, 15 in a row. But so these fluky statistics happen every once in a while, and it makes me a little nervous. But aside from that, not even close. Most people won't even assent to being tested.
I'm just curious how you're funded.
Well, I personally work for the Center for Inquiry, so I'm full-time with the Center for Inquiry. The groups, the IIG Independent Investigations Group in Los Angeles, in Atlanta, in Washington, D.C., and the other ones that are emerging are all volunteer groups.
So how's that place funded?
The Center for Inquiry, it's all funded by individual contributions. Yeah, the government's not big on supporting it. We'll take their money, but there's not a lot. Any other questions? Thanks a lot, everyone.